Welcome back to Panda Audiobooks. The Heavenly Execution Order has been broadcast across the heavens, and every corner of the higher realms is now a death trap for Jian Wushuang. In our last episode, Wushuang shattered the mirror formation of the Sword Maidens, proving that even a god's reflection cannot stand against the true primordial sword. Today, we find our allies. Chapters 206 through 210 take us into the Sea of Stars, a shimmering nebula where physics are governed by spiritual tides. While evading a fleet of bounty hunters, Wushuang is intercepted by a fleet of ghost ships, the hidden navy of the Star Eater Rebellion. These are the survivors of the domains the Divine Sovereigns destroyed to fuel the Eclipse Pillar. They've been waiting for a leader with the heavenly creation skill for a millennium. But before they follow him, Wushuang must pass the trial of the Star Altar to prove he isn't just another tyrant in the making. The rebellion finds its spark. Chapter 206 starts right now. Chapter 206, Real Exceptional Genius. In the void over Sky Valley, the monarchs of the 12 dynasties, as well as experts of old sects, kept an eye on what happened below. When they saw the geniuses of the Cosmos Empire engage in a fierce fight with the team of the Qianzong dynasty, they could not help but sigh. The Qianzong dynasty is over. All of them thought it would happen. But just a moment later, everyone above the void became as silent as the grave. It was hard for them to believe what they had seen. Just now, they saw Jian Wushuang suddenly erupt with great power, cut off Ling Shuiyu's 2 arms, and immediately launch another attack with a brilliant strike. 14 geniuses of the Cosmos Empire were killed by that strike. Shock. Everybody was shocked. How could it be possible? Why is Jian Wushuang so strong? Oh God, he killed 14 geniuses of the Cosmos Empire with only one strike? The monarchs from the 12 dynasties could not help but widen their eyes. The monarch of the Cosmos Empire, a weathered elder, had just shown a smiling face, but now it flushed red with anger. Bang! The elder stood up while patting the chair into dust. He looked extremely angry as killing intent roared around his body. The other monarchs were a little surprised, but they could understand him. The Cosmos Empire was one of the 2 large empires, but now all the geniuses from it had been killed by the same person in this point-grab battle. It was impossible for their monarch not to be furious. The experts of old sects gathered with a complex look. Especially Mo Lingtian. Mo Lingtian had thought highly of Ling Shuiyu and judged that he was qualified to be a disciple of his wilderness sword sect. As for Jian Wushuang, Mo Lingtian had not put him in his eyes. However, Mo Lingtian was stunned at this moment. It's impossible. Even Mo Lingtian could hardly believe that what happened below was real. The kid has surpassed himself, but even if he broke through, how could he improve his strength to such an extent? Unimaginable. Mo Lingtian could not understand. As for his previous strength, Jian Wushuang could only reach top 10 in the standings, but now his strength had improved to such an inconceivable level where he could kill 14 geniuses of the Cosmos Empire with only one strike. This kid, how did he achieve it? Mo Lingtian roared in mind. He was oblivious to Jian Wushuang's true strength. Jian Wushuang had improved his strength from the peak of the profound cold core realm to the exceptional gold core realm. It looked like an ordinary breakthrough, but Jian Wushuang had been cultivating heavenly creation skill, the heaven-defying cultivation method. It was a supreme gold core that he had. He had been at the peak of the profound cold core realm. As a result, his eruption of power could only be considered close to half-step yin-yang, even if it was a supreme gold core that triggered the outburst. But now, he had reached the exceptional gold core realm, thus his power could exceed the gold core realm and reach the initial yin void realm with the help of the supreme gold core. He could outclass any genius of the 12 dynasties with the strength. More importantly, he made a major breakthrough in the enlightenment of his sword essence. 4 kinds of sword essence combined. The more closely 4 kinds of sword essence combined, the greater his strength would improve. When he had combined 2 kinds of sword essence, Jian Wushuang improved his complete strength to a normal degree. After he had combined 3 kinds of sword essence, his complete strength was at least 5 times greater than before. Now after combining 4 kinds of sword essence, Jian Wushuang was quite clear that his complete strength was at least 10 times greater than before. Moreover, the combination of them not only helped to improve his swordsmanship but also, brought him a kind of new power. With all of them coupled together, Jian Wushuang became extremely strong after the breakthrough. Subsequently, he could cut off Ling Shuiyu's 2 arms and could kill 14 geniuses of the Cosmos Empire with 1 strike. I thought Meng Wuqian and Ling Shuiyu were exceptional geniuses and didn't expect that Jian Wushuang was much stronger than the 2 of them. They're not on the same level. Such a peerless genius. Experts of old sects stared at Jian Wushuang with a feverish look. They were different from Mo Lingqian, who followed his sect master's order to come here and just pretended that he would choose several disciples for the Wilderness Sword sect. The experts of the other old sects came for these geniuses. If they were satisfied with someone, they would offer them an opportunity to join their old sects. Now they knew that Jian Wushuang was the most outstanding genius in this easternmost hunting, as he had proved himself through his strength and talent. He was a much more terrifying monster than Meng Wuqian or Ling Shuiyu. The experts of old sects naturally wanted him. Mr. Ling Qian, I remember that you said that you were not interested in Jian Wushuang and that we could accept him as a disciple if we wanted him. An expert of an old sect said while looking toward Mo Lingqian. Ha ha, Mr. Ling Qian comes from the Wilderness Sword sect, one of top 8 sects in Nanyang. He is demanding. How could he be satisfied with such a kid? Right, Mr. Ling Qian might not be satisfied with him, but we don't mind accepting Jian Wushuang as our disciple. Mr. Ling Qian, you will keep your promise, right? The experts of the other old sects watched them with interest. All of them eagerly wanted Jian Wushuang to be their disciple, therefore their biggest competitor was the Wilderness Sword sect. The Wilderness Sword sect was one of the top 8 sects, so it was more powerful than the other sects. Moreover, the Wilderness Sword sect was famous for sword principle, and Jian Wushuang was also a warrior of sword principle. Therefore, the conditions which the Wilderness Sword sect could offer were much better than that of the other old sects. If they gave Jian Wushuang an option, he might choose the Wilderness Sword sect without hesitation. The experts of the other old sects reminded Mo Lingqian of what he said because they wanted him to give up on Jian Wushuang. Mo Lingqian understood their intentions and immediately snorted. HMPH, I'll keep my promise. Jian Wushuang might be slightly talented, but our Wilderness Sword sect is full of geniuses who are more excellent than him. It's fine without him. Since you want him, I'll quit. It's not a big deal. Mo Lingqian seemed unconcerned, but he was somewhat upset about it. After all, Jian Wushuang showed his talent. What an exceptional genius he was. Chapter 207, Catastrophe. The experts of the other old sects smiled after hearing Mo Lingqian's words. They now needed to consider what price they would pay to attract Jian Wushuang. Except for the Wilderness Sword sect, which would not step in, the other old sects must be unwilling to give up. There was no doubt that the one who offered the best condition could get Jian Wushuang. The experts of the other old sects started to ponder. Another event was occurring in Sky Valley. Jian Wushuang bumped into the geniuses of the Immortals Killing Empire after killing the geniuses of the Cosmos Empire. It caused the monarch of the Immortals Killing Empire to become a bit anxious. He finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Jian Wushuang did not kill Ling Shuiyu. Then all of the monarch's face turned somewhat stiff because of what happened next. All the geniuses of the Immortals Killing Empire handed over their armlets and left. From now on, the team from Qianzong Dynasty possessed the armlets of all the geniuses of the 2 large empires. It's interesting now. The small team of the Qianzong Dynasty has all the armlets of the 2 large empires. Armlets represent points, thus that team has most of the points for now. If there's no accident, those from the Qianzong Dynasty will rank from number 1 to 6th in the new standings after this battle is over. A small empire will take top 6 in the standings. All the monarchs were overwhelmed. The Qianzong Dynasty is really a small empire. This time the small team of the Qianzong Dynasty performed incredibly well. As for the previous easternmost hunting, the top 10 normally came from the 2 large empires in the revised rankings after the point grab battle. Even some powerful middle-sized empires, like the Z Dynasty, could hardly reach top 10 in the standings, let alone those small empires. However, this time all of those in the top 6 would come from the Qianzong Dynasty. What did it mean? A miracle. As a small empire, the Qianzong Dynasty had really created a miracle in this easternmost hunting. It was a miracle that no other small empires had ever achieved before. Di Shi, the monarch of the Qianzong dynasty, momentarily had a dazzling smile on his face. Good. Very good. Good boy, I'm proud of you. As a monarch, Di Shi laughed hysterically like a fool. His laughter aroused the other monarchs' attention. They enviously looked at Di Shi. What? What's that? A monarch suddenly exclaimed. Upon hearing this, the other monarchs looked down and their expressions suddenly changed. What? What happened? Who are they? All the monarchs of the 12 dynasties became furious. Di Shi felt shocked when he saw several black figures rush toward where Jian Wushuang stood at an amazing speed in Sky Valley. The black robe, purple mask, blood feather tower. Boom! Di Shi immediately stood up as a terrifying aura gushed out of him. As the first one of Qianzong dynasty to be on the heavenly dragon list, Di Shi himself was very strong. Bastard! How dare you mess up the easternmost hunting? How did they get in? The experts guarding Sky Valley haven't blocked them? Every monarch's expression turned cold. It was unexpected that a group of experts directly intruded into Sky Valley when the point grab battle had not ended yet. Boom! With a terrifying aura rising up, the experts of the 12 dynasties were ready to kill the intruders in black. However, at this moment, whoosh! A figure showed up like a ghost and immediately stood in front of them. The experts held their stances and looked at the figure. The man wore a grey robe. The 12 dynasties, and the experts from old sects, nice to meet you all. I'm Grey Robe from Blood Feather Tower, the man said kindly. Blood Feather Tower? All the monarchs of the 12 dynasties frowned slightly. Some of them had heard about Blood Feather Tower, but most of them knew nothing about it. Blood Feather Tower was just a small force in the Qianzong dynasty. It did not deserve to be mentioned in the 12 northwestern dynasties. Therefore, the experts of old sects had never heard about it. You ordered them to intrude into Sky Valley? The monarch of the Immortals Killing Empire, a frivolous young man, stared at Grey Robe as if he was watching a small ant. Yes. Grey Robe nodded. Grey Robe, your Blood Feather Tower must have some guts. In order to kill Jian Wushuang, you dare to mess up the easternmost hunting? Di Shi spoke with a cold look. Our Blood Feather Tower always has the guts. Grey Robe smiled and then looked around. Everyone, please wait here until we finish our task. Then easternmost hunting can continue. You should be clear about who you're talking to before you talk. The monarch of the Immortals Killing Empire slowly stood up, with his killing intent fixed on Grey Robe. Grey Robe immediately felt a shiver. You must be the monarch of the Immortals Killing Empire. You are really powerful. Grey Robe glanced at the monarch of Immortals Killing Empire in terror, and then he smiled again. Our Blood Feather Tower is bold indeed, but we're not impetuous. Without any special reason, how dare we come to kill people in the easternmost hunting? Then Grey Robe turned over his hand and took out a light golden token. A character holy on the token attracted their attention. This is. As soon as they saw the token, the monarchs of the 12 dynasties, as well as experts of old sects, were terribly shocked. Obviously, they recognized the token and knew what it represented. Now, you should understand why I dare say this, Grey Robe said with a faint smile. Then he put it away and looked at the monarch of the Immortals Killing Empire. With cold eyes, the monarch of the Immortals Killing Empire gradually calmed his roaring killing intent. After giving Grey Robe a meaningful glance, he finally sat down again. The other monarchs looked at each other and then sat down one after another. The experts of the old sects were clearer about the token than the monarchs of the 12 dynasties. They knew that the token represented a kind of extremely horrific power. They could only shake their heads with resignation. Chapter 208, Purple Fire Body Shaping Elixir. Not long ago, these old sect powerhouses were very interested in the extraordinary exceptional genius, Jian Wushuang. Even experts of several old sects had pondered over what they could offer to attract him. But now, after seeing Grey Robe and especially the token, they all gave up. They knew what his token implied. The people being preyed on by this horror force seldom escaped from the entire Nanyang continent. That guy can be proud of it. He should have the qualification to be preyed on by the horror force. Mo Lingtian sneered at this moment. Experts of the 12 dynasties and other old sects thereupon felt pity for Jian Wushuang and his adversity right now, but only Mo Lingtian was taking pleasure in his misfortune. Nearby people shook their heads with resignation. At this moment, all of them were sympathetically looking at Jian Wushuang, who stood in the limelight. Grey Robe saw all of the experts' expressions, as was expected. He sneered, and then looked at Di. Your Majesty, what do you think? If you want the Qianzong dynasty to be history, you can set about rescuing that guy. Hearing that, Di was temperamental. In his eyes, there was a little craziness and also a little rationality, but the rationality prevailed in the end. Di clenched his hands tightly, letting out a sigh, and then he collapsed onto the chair and closed his eyes without saying anything. HMH, it's great you know your place. Grey Robe sneered at Di and then traveled down to Sky Valley. Everyone was staring at Sky Valley. They had noticed that those purple-masked killers from Blood Feather Tower were nearing closer and closer to Jian Wushuang. In Sky Valley, everything had calmed down. Only the corpses of the geniuses from the Cosmos Empire were messily lying around. As for Ling Shuiyu, whose arms were cut off and Dantian was destroyed, Yang Zixuan did not torture him any longer but directly killed him. Although the Qianzong dynasty made a clean sweep in this fierce battle, they also suffered great losses. Except for Jian Wushuang, Bailey Chen, Feng Yuqian, and Mu Yingying, who were mortally wounded. Their faces were currently as pale as death. Su Ru was more severely wounded. Even if she took several high-grade healing elixirs, she would only be able to recover consciousness. What they received were just physical wounds. Though these were severe, they could recover. While Yang Zixuan, second brother, Jian Wushuang stood in front of Yang Zixuan, looking at his broken arm with self-accusation and guilt in his eyes. If I could have completed the breakthrough earlier, Jian Wushuang thought secretly. Only the left arm was cut off. I'll be fine. Yang Zixuan took a look at Jian Wushuang and comforted him. However, Jian Wushuang was silent. The broken arm is not beyond recovery. Mu Yingying's voice sounded. Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan looked at Mu Yingying immediately. Mu Yingying said, "You know that I come from Mu clan, which is very good at alchemy. Once, I had heard from one of the clan's elders that there is a kind of organ neogenesis elixir, named Purple Fire Body Shaping Elixir." Purple Fire Body Shaping Elixir. Jian Wushuang was surprised. He didn't know much about elixirs, so he had never heard of the Purple Fire Body Shaping Elixir. This kind of elixir can regenerate broken limbs, thus it also can absolutely recover Yang Zixuan's broken arm. But the level of Purple Fire Body Shaping Elixir is quite high. Even people in the Mu clan merely hear about it but no one can refine it, Mu Yingying said. Purple Fire Body Shaping Elixir, I've heard of it as well. A soft voice sounded. It was from the nearby Su Ru, who was still lying on the ground weakly. As long as the elixir is obtained, it would be able to recover Lao Er's arm. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to refine this kind of elixir. Few people can refine it on the whole Nanyang continent, so it is hard to obtain it. It is hard to obtain, but that's provided it does exist, Jian Wushuang said. Yang Zixuan also forced a smile. All right. Let's just move on. All the geniuses of the Cosmos Empire are killed, and the armlets from the geniuses of the Immortals Killing Empire have been taken by me. Let us 6 divide these armlets equally, Jian Wushuang said suddenly. Hearing that, the 5 people nearby all smiled. Ha ha, all the armlets from the geniuses of 2 large empires. How many points will this be? There's a plethora of points. If we divide them equally, without exception, we will take up the top 6 on the new standings after point grab battle. This time, our Qianzong dynasty will be famous in the 12 northwestern dynasties. Yang Zixuan, Su Ru, Bailey Chen, Feng Yuqian, and Mu Yingying were all surprised. Then the 5 people's eyes simultaneously focused on Jian Wushuang. They all knew that it was because of Jian Wushuang that they could reach this step. Because of his world-shaking strength after he broke through. That opportunely verified what Jian Wushuang said before he had broken through. After the breakthrough, I will lead you to sweep over the northwestern dynasties and create a new legend. A smile appeared on Jian Wushuang's face. Sweep over the northwestern dynasties. Create a new legend. He did it. However, at this point, Jian Wushuang suddenly felt alarmed, and the hairs on his skin erected. This feeling. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrunk slightly. It was not the first time that he had experienced this feeling. Blood Feather Tower. Jian Wushuang yelled, and then a killing intent immediately erupted from him. Chew! A shadow and cold blood-red blade appeared behind Jian Wushuang. The blood-red blade directly stabbed at Jian Wushuang in such an unusual and odd way. It instantly pierced Jian Wushuang. But no blood flowed out after his body was pierced, and there wasn't even the sound of a blade piercing him. Residual shadow? The fighting purple-masked killer felt frightened, and soon he saw Jian Wushuang appear beside him. Chew! Jian Wushuang was filled with such murderous intent that he directly stabbed at that purple-masked killer with rage. The purple-masked killer raised his blood-red blade in order to fend off the attack. Bang! The purple-masked killer was knocked back immediately because of a fierce explosion and then powerfully struck a tree, causing it to become seriously cracked. At the moment when this purple-masked killer was repulsed. Whoosh! 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 Several ghostly figures appeared around Jian Wushuang in succession, with innumerable eyes filled with killing intent gazing at him. Glancing around, Jian Wushuang saw that there should be 11 people as well as the person beaten back by him earlier, thus it totaled to 12 killers. What's more, all of these killers wore purple masks with powerful auras exuding from them. Chapter 209. A battle rose again. Glancing at these 12 purple-masked killers surrounding him, Jian Wushuang's face was cold. The breaths of the 12 purple-masked killers were extremely violent. Among them, 8 had reached the exceptional Yin Void Realm, and the other 4 had reached the peak of the Yin Void Realm. 8 in the exceptional Yin Void Realm and 4 at the peak of the Yin Void Realm. Blood Feather Tower really thinks highly of me. Jian Wushuang smiled coldly. Jian Wushuang, I didn't expect that your strength would improve again in such a short period. The purple-masked killer, who had been beaten back and struck a tree, currently walked again towards Jian Wushuang and stared at him with cold eyes. You're Ghost Tiger? Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold. He once met Ghost Tiger in the Nine Emperors sect and knew that it was him who destroyed his father's Dantian. He said at that time that he must kill him if he saw him again. Now it was that time. How dare Blood Feather Tower send killers to Sky Valley to kill me? Jian Wushuang was a little bit astonished and looked up to the vast upper void. Not surprisingly, many experts from the 12 dynasties must have gathered in the upper void and kept watch over Sky Valley. Therefore, they should stop the intruding killers of Blood Feather Tower. However, they easily approached him and had already gone through a round of slaughter, yet the 12 dynasties didn't react at all. It made Jian Wushuang feel astonished. Are you wondering why no one has come to help you? Ghost Tiger sensed what Jian Wushuang was thinking and smiled coldly. Stop thinking. We were fully prepared in order to kill you during the easternmost hunting. This time, you must die and no one can help you. Kill me. You. Jian Wushuang looked indifferent. Ha ha. Isn't it enough? Ghost Tiger laughed. Then he winked at the purple-masked killer beside him. Action. Ghost Tiger took the lead and the reopening 11 purple-masked killers also burst forward and rushed toward Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was stony-faced. Having glanced at Xianxia and the other 4 people, he took out his triple-kill sword and said, "Take care of yourselves." Having said that, Jian Wushuang directly met the killers head-on. Third brother. Xianxia, Su Ru, and Bailey Chen looked at Jian Wushuang with concern, but they were helpless to do anything. After all, they had just gone through a fierce fight and had been seriously wounded. They had little battle strength now, and thus they were of little help to him. Go to hell. Ghost Tiger and the purple-masked killer at the peak of the Yin Void Realm besides him took the lead, rushing toward Jian Wushuang. 2 dazzling black lights burst out simultaneously. One rushed directly to Jian Wushuang's throat and another one went to his heart. Get out of my way. Jian Wushuang thundered and his triple-kill sword burst out suddenly. With 4 sword essences combined together, he precisely played idealistic form of the selfless sword technique. A cold flowing light swept over overwhelmingly and, in the turn of a hand, the flowing light crashed with those 2 black lights. Once its terrible power exploded, those two black lights dimmed. Even Ghost Tiger and the purple-masked killer of Yin Void Champion were fought off instantly. One movement simultaneously forced back two at the peak of the Yin Void realm. The attack of the left 10 purple-masked killers fell at the same time. Jian Wushuang's face changed a little, but the next moment, his figure turned into a phantom and he brandished the triple-kill sword as quickly as ghosts. Clang! 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 10 running crashes sounded. Jian Wushuang's body shook heavily, and the ground under his feet cracked. He took several steps back, with each step falling on the ground heavily and loudly. Coming to a stop, Jian Wushuang raised his head and looked at the purple-masked killers with a grin. "You're too slow." The purple-masked killers narrowed their eyes. This guy is strong in offense, and he forced back two at the peak of the Yin Void realm with one movement. Unexpectedly, he's also strong in defense, as he managed to reflect back that attack of ours. He might be able to resist one attack, but maybe not the second one. Come on. Kill him. The purple-masked killers unhesitantly took action again. However, Jian Wushuang smiled coldly and brandished his triple-kill sword freely. Bang! 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 The running crashes rose again. The 12 purple-masked killers had tried their best and each one played their trump card. However, what about Jian Wushuang? His overall strength had improved a lot after he combined 4 sword essences, and his cultivation of spiritual power had reached the exceptional gold core realm. Now, his battle strength was much higher than a normal expert at the peak of the Yin Void realm. More importantly, he had comprehended 4 sword essences, which were the Earth, Raging Fire, Water Drop, and Gale. It made Jian Wushuang be skillful in every aspect. No matter in attacking, or defending, or a battle of attrition. He was good at all these. It could be said that he had no weakness. The 12 purple-masked killers circled him, but he moved freely among them like a fish. With his skillful swordsmanship, he defended against all of their attacks easily. Even he didn't show any panic. Seeing what happened under the void, the experts of the 12 dynasties and the old sects were shocked, and their expressions were humorous. 8 in the exceptional Yin Void realm and 4 at the peak of the Yin Void realm. Such a powerful team jointly attacked him, but could do nothing? How could he be this strong? The guy is really in the primordial gold core realm? How could one in the primordial gold core realm be so strong? All of them were perplexed. The gap between the primordial gold core realm and yin-yang void realm was huge. Some super geniuses might kill normal warriors in the initial yin void realm or profound yin void realm easily, which could be considered normal. It's nothing to rank skip and challenge someone if one was a super genius with a high comprehension of sword essence. But to skip this much was incredibly unusual. If a genius of the initial yin void realm killed one in the initial or profound yin void realm, they could understand it. If he could kill one in the exceptional Yin Void realm, then that would be amazing. Such a genius was rare in Nanyang continent, let alone in the 12 northwestern dynasties. But now, Jian Wushuang, one in the primordial gold core realm, could fight against 8 in the exceptional Yin Void realm and 4 at the peak of the Yin Void realm simultaneously, and had even kept fighting until now. What did that mean? It's impossible, an expert from one old sect couldn't help but say. At the same time, when the experts were talking about it, Grey Robe's face fell. "What are you doing, you idiots?" Grey Robe cursed and snorted. His snorting sound resounded throughout the whole Sky Valley. Chapter 210. What an extraordinary surprise. "Hurry up! Kill him!" Grey Robe's shouting was loud and reverberated throughout Sky Valley. The 12 purple-masked killers who were fighting with Jian Wushuang heard it. "Quit dawdling and attack in full force. Also, swallow the purple coagulation elixir immediately if you have one," Ghost Tiger shouted lowly, then he turned over his hand and promptly swallowed a purple elixir. Among the other 11 killers, there were 7 who momentarily swallowed their elixirs. 8 people swallowed elixirs in total, and their strength rapidly increased. Jian Wushuang was stunned at this scene. Purple coagulation elixir? Jian Wushuang knew the purple coagulation elixir. It was usually used by experts of the Yin Void realm, and it could improve one's strength in seconds with almost no side effect, for the improvement was limited. Once these 8 people swallowed the purple coagulation elixirs, their strength improved a lot. It seems that I should go all out. Jian Wushuang thought with the corners of his mouth quirked up. All right, I don't want it to last long. After I combined 4 sword essences, my strength was greatly improved. What's more, I gained a special power. I had never known this special power before. But now, let me test it with these purple-masked killers of Blood Feather Tower. Jian Wushuang's eyes were cold, and at this moment he just glided out. Kill. All the 12 purple-masked killers moved again. The swallowed purple coagulation elixir generated for them a great enhancement in their breath. Ghost Tiger stabbed his blood-colored red blade toward Jian Wushuang. At the same time, Jian Wushuang also waved his long sword. The third move of selfless sword technique, Sky Isolating Form. This was the same Sky Isolating Form, but its power was totally different because of the combination of 4 sword essences. A golden flowing light crossed the sky like a shooting star. In a second, it appeared in front of Ghost Tiger. The golden, flowing light with great strength was immersed with a special power, and instantly its light became much more dazzling. It crashed with the blood-red blade bang. The blood-red blade in Ghost Tiger's hands became crooked, and the bones of his one arm, which was holding the blood-red blade, were cracked. How Ghost Tiger's eyes were full of astonishment. But the golden flowing light turned slightly and then pierced through his head. Puff! After the golden flowing light shoot through Ghost Tiger's head, the power didn't weaken but rushed directly to another purple-masked killer at the peak of the Yin Void realm. What's the hell? The purple-masked killer had no time to react but rashly resisted it with his blood-red blade. Clang! Puff! The strong and attacking golden flowing light struck the blood-red blade away overwhelmingly, then shot through the purple-masked killer's head. Jesus! It's so strong! The other purple-masked killers who rushed to Jian Wushuang from around were shocked, and their faces changed a lot. One movement killed 2 purple-masked killers in succession. Moreover, they were at the peak of the Yin Void realm and had swallowed purple coagulation elixirs. Before they recovered from their shock, Jian Wushuang appeared in front of 3 purple-masked killers with a simple turn. The dazzling and golden flowing light flew out again. The 3 purple-masked killers opened their eyes and tried to stop it desperately. But Kai! The golden, flowing light swept over their necks and instantly cut off their heads. Jian Wushuang then moved again. Run! The purple-masked killers of Blood Feather Tower tried to flee away at once. They feared so much. The strength displayed by Jian Wushuang was so horrible and they couldn't help but feel frightened. They had already forgotten to kill Jian Wushuang. Instead, they were hoping not to be killed by him. Though they fled to the east and the west, Jian Wushuang wouldn't let them off. All of the people belonging to Blood Feather Tower have to die. The killing intent in Jian Wushuang's eyes was strong, and after killing 5 purple-masked killers in succession, he moved again along with the golden, flowing light. Kai! One by one. These purple-masked killers, who approached Jian Wushuang quite directly just now, had no time to flee away from his long sword in such a short time because they were so close to him. Just in an instant, the 12 purple-masked killers were all killed. No one was escaped. After killing them, Jian Wushuang raised his head and looked toward the upper void. For Grey Robe's voice coming from the upper void, he heard it. Therefore, he rose in the air and flew directly to the upper void. The upper void was in dead silence at this moment, though there were a great number of experts gathered there. All of them were shocked by what happened under the void. The special power contained in his swordsmanship, is it the origin? The words exploded in the upper void. Origin. Sword way source. Source energy. He comprehended the sword way source? Unbelievable. How is it possible? All the people who were sitting in their chairs stood up. All of their eyes were full of astonishment. The monarchs of the 12 dynasties and experts of the old sects were stunned. Even Mo Lingtian, who had always looked down upon Jian Wushuang before, was shocked as well. Origin? It was origin. Mo Lingtian was also totally shocked. Origin. Above the essence realm of heaven and earth. For a warrior, when he cultivated, improving the spiritual power was only one aspect. The most important aspect was the comprehension of the essence of heaven and earth cultivation. The comprehension was firstly reflected in Essence Realm. After thoroughly understanding, they would combine them together. That was the end of comprehension of Essence Realm, but not the comprehension of the heaven and earth. Above the Essence Realm was the origin. Those powerful original sword techniques such as formless swordsmanship. It was recognized as the most outstanding, finest swordsmanship in the Qianzong dynasty because it was an original sword technique that required comprehension of the origin. The selfless sword technique was also an original sword technique which required comprehension of the origin. The origin was much more powerful than the Essence Realm. It was because it was so strong that it was abstruse and difficult to comprehend. It was easy for warriors to comprehend the Essence Realm of heaven and earth. In general, warriors of primordial gold core realm could try to comprehend Essence Realm, and some geniuses' comprehension of Essence Realm of heaven and earth would reach a high level when they were in level of transforming sea. But the origin a warrior in the Yin-Yang Void Realm, even at the peak of Yang Void Realm, who could comprehend it was rare. And with the ancient star altar glowing in recognition of a new master, we conclude Chapter 210. Wushuang has secured the loyalty of the Star Eater Rebellion, gaining an army and a base of operations within the hidden folds of the nebula. But the clock is ticking. The rebellion spies have sent word. The Divine Sovereign has moved the execution date of Wushuang's father forward to lure him out. The Sea of Stars is about to become a battlefield. Join us next time for chapters 211 through 215, as the combined forces of Wushuang and the rebels launch their first strike against the Sovereign supply lines. Thank you for listening to Panda Audiobooks. If you're ready to see the rebellion in action, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, which member of the Star Eater Council do you trust the least?